Malik gave the police officer a fake address, his mother's old apartment building, the one they'd been evicted from 5 years ago. He recited it smoothly, confidently, like he'd practiced it 1,000 times, because he had. When you're homeless, you learn to lie. You learn which lies keep you safe and which ones get you caught. You learn to have answers ready for every question someone in authority might ask. "And you witnessed the abduction?" the officer asked, pen moving across his notepad. "Yes, sir. I saw the man take the little girl. She was with her mother 1 minute, then he had her and was heading for the exit." "And you confronted him physically?" "I grabbed his arm and yelled for help. He punched me, but by then security was already coming."
The officer looked at Malik's split lip and the bruise forming on his cheekbone. "You should get that checked out. Paramedics are still here." "I'm fine," Malik said quickly. Medical attention meant more questions, more scrutiny, more chances for someone to discover the truth. "It's just a split lip. I've had worse." The officer studied him for a moment, and Malik forced himself not to look away. Eye contact, confidence. Act like you have nothing to hide. "You're a brave kid," the officer finally said. "What you did, confronting an abductor like that, most adults wouldn't have done it. You probably saved that little girl's life." Malik shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. Anyone would have done the same thing. "No," the officer said firmly. "They wouldn't have."
Most people would have looked away or assumed someone else would handle it. You acted. Malik didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. "We'll need to follow up if we have more questions," the officer continued, handing Malik a card. "Call me if you remember anything else about the suspect." "Yes, sir." Malik took the card and started to leave, his body already moving toward escape, toward the parking garage where his car was hidden, toward safety. "Malik." He stopped, closed his eyes, knew that voice. Rebecca Stone was walking toward him, Emma still in her arms. The little girl had stopped crying but was clinging to her mother like a baby monkey, face buried against Rebecca's shoulder. "Please," Rebecca said quietly. "Just 5 more minutes. That's all I'm asking."
"I gave my statement," Malik replied without turning around. "There's nothing else to talk about." "There's everything to talk about." Rebecca's voice was steady now, the shock and tears replaced by that commanding presence he remembered from 5 years ago, the voice that expected to be obeyed. "You saved my daughter's life. The least you can do is let me thank you properly." Malik finally turned around, and something in his expression made Rebecca take a step back. "Thank me?" His voice was quiet but sharp as broken glass. "You want to thank me? Okay, here's my thank you. Leave me alone. Go back to your billionaire life and forget you ever saw me. That's all the thanks I need." "I can't do that." "Why not?" "You forgot about my mother easily enough." The accusation hung in the air between them. Around them, mall security was still managing the crime scene. Police were interviewing witnesses, and Christmas shoppers were being slowly released from the lockdown. But in their small bubble of space, it felt like the whole world had stopped. Emma lifted her head from Rebecca's shoulder and looked at Malik with those big, frightened eyes. "You saved me," the little girl said in a tiny voice. "Mommy said you saved me." Malik's anger deflated slightly. This kid had just been through something terrifying. She didn't deserve his rage at her mother. "I'm glad you're okay," he said gently to Emma. "That must have been really scary." Emma nodded, then buried her face back against Rebecca's shoulder. Rebecca's eyes were shining with fresh tears. "Malik, please. I know I don't deserve your time or your forgiveness. I know what I did to your family was unforgivable, but please, let me at least try to make things right." "You can't make it right," Malik said, exhaustion creeping into his voice. "My mom is in a halfway house trying to stay sober. He stopped himself before he said too much. "Our lives are what they are. Money can't fix it." "Maybe not," Rebecca agreed, "but it can help." "Where are you living, Malik?" The question was a trap. Malik could feel it. "I'm staying with a friend," He lied smoothly. I'm fine. You're 17. Are you still in school? Yes, I'm a senior. Graduate in May. Where? Lincoln High. That much was true.
He'd managed to stay enrolled despite everything, showing up for classes when he could, keeping his grades just high enough to not draw attention from truant officers. Rebecca was studying him carefully, and Malik knew she was seeing things he didn't want her to see. The worn clothes that didn't quite fit, the backpack held together with duct tape, the split lip that he'd said he'd had worse than, implying this wasn't his first fight. Malik, Rebecca said slowly, are you homeless? No, Malik lied, but even he could hear how unconvincing it sounded. Don't lie to me, please. Why do you care? The words came out harsher than he intended. 5 years ago, you didn't care what happened to us. You didn't care that your accusation destroyed my mother's life, got me taken away, ruined everything. Why do you suddenly care now? Because I was wrong, Rebecca's voice cracked. Because I've spent 3 years knowing I was wrong and being too much of a coward to find you and apologize. Because I built my entire fortune on innovation and disruption and believing in second chances. But I didn't give your mother a second chance. I didn't even give her the benefit of the doubt. Emma started crying again, upset by her mother's raised voice. Rebecca closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and lowered her voice. I'm sorry. Emma, sweetie, it's okay. Mommy's okay. She looked at Malik again, and this time there was something raw in her expression, genuine remorse. Not the performative kind that rich people use to make themselves feel better, but the real, painful kind that came from actually facing what you'd done. I can't undo the past, Rebecca said quietly. I can't give your mother back the 5 years she lost. I can't give you back your childhood. But I can help now, if you'll let me. I don't want your charity, Malik said. It's not charity, it's restitution. There's a difference. Malik wanted to walk away, wanted to disappear into the crowd and never see Rebecca Stone again. But he was so tired. Tired of sleeping in his car, tired of showering at truck stops, tired of pretending he wasn't one bad day away from complete disaster. What are you offering? He heard himself ask.
2 hours later, Malik sat in a booth at a quiet restaurant near the mall. Rebecca sat across from him, Emma asleep in a high chair beside her, exhausted from the trauma of the day. Between them on the table was a tablet showing a legal document that Malik had read 3 times and still didn't quite believe was real. This is a trust fund, Rebecca explained, her voice businesslike now, professional. $500,000, managed by an independent financial advisor. It's yours, Malik, no strings attached. Malik stared at the number. $500,000, more money than he could comprehend. This is insane, he said. This is the least I can do, Rebecca corrected. Your mother lost 5 years of income because of my accusation.
Conservatively, that's about $200,000 in lost wages. The emotional damage, the cost to your family, there's no price tag on that. $500,000 is actually inadequate. I can't accept this. Why not? Because Malik struggled to articulate it. Because it feels like blood money, like you're paying me to forget what you did. Rebecca leaned back, her expression troubled. I'm not paying you to forget. I'm paying you because it's what I owe. What happened to your family was my fault. I can't fix it, but I can at least ensure your future isn't destroyed too. Malik looked at the sleeping Emma, then back at Rebecca. Does she know what you did? Your daughter. When she's old enough, are you going to tell her that her mother destroyed an innocent family?
Rebecca flinched. Yes. When she's old enough to understand, I'll tell her. I'll tell her that I made a terrible mistake, that I let my own ego and assumptions hurt innocent people. And I'll tell her that because of that mistake, I learned to question my certainty and give people the benefit of the doubt. That's a nice story, Malik said bitterly. Very redemptive. You get to be the billionaire who learned and grew. Meanwhile, my mom is still struggling to stay sober, and I've been living in my car for 8 months. Rebecca went very still. You've been living in your car? Malik cursed himself internally. He hadn't meant to admit that. It's fine, he said quickly. I manage, I have a system. It's not fine. Rebecca's voice was sharp now. You're 17 years old. You should be worried about college applications and prom, not where you're going to sleep safely. Yeah, well, that's not my reality. It could be, Rebecca leaned forward. Malik, this trust fund, it's not just money. It comes with conditions that protect you. Housing assistance, educational support, healthcare, everything you need to finish high school and go to college. I don't want to go to college, Rebecca blinked. What? I want to take the SATs and score high enough to get scholarships, Malik explained. But I'm not going to some 4-year university and drowning in debt. I'm going to community college, getting my basics done cheaply, then transferring somewhere with good financial aid. That's the only realistic path.
With this trust fund, you could go anywhere, Rebecca said. MIT, Stanford, anywhere you want. I don't want your money determining where I go to school, Malik shot back. I want to earn it myself. That's admirable, but stupid, Rebecca said bluntly. You have nothing to prove, Malik. You've already survived more than most people face in a lifetime. Let someone help you. Why? Malik demanded. Why do you care so much? Is this about your guilt? About making yourself feel better? Yes, Rebecca's voice rose, then dropped when Emma stirred slightly. Yes, it's about my guilt. It's about looking at my daughter, this beautiful, perfect child, and realizing that 5 years ago, I destroyed another mother's child.
I took away Angela's son just as surely as that man today tried to take away mine. And the only difference is that I did it legally. The raw honesty of it silenced Malik. I can't undo what I did, Rebecca continued, her voice thick with emotion. But I can make sure you have the opportunities you should have had all along. I can make sure that when you're my age, you're not looking back at wasted potential and stolen futures. Malik stared at the legal document on the tablet. $500,000. Housing, healthcare, educational support. It was everything he'd needed for the past 5 years. Everything he'd struggled and fought and nearly broken himself trying to achieve on his own. And it was being offered by the woman who'd caused all his suffering in the first place. What about my mom? Malik asked quietly. Rebecca slid another tablet across the table. Another legal document. Same for her. $500,000 in a managed trust, plus immediate placement in a high-quality addiction treatment facility. Residential, long-term, the kind that actually works. When she completes the program, there's transitional housing and job placement assistance. Malik felt tears burning behind his eyes. You researched all this? I've had 3 years to think about how I'd make this right if I ever found you, Rebecca admitted. I hired a private investigator 6 months ago. He found your mother in the halfway house, but couldn't locate you. The trail went cold when you ran away from foster care. You were looking for us? For 3 years. Since the day I found that bracelet behind the dresser and realized what I'd done. Rebecca's voice broke. Angela wouldn't take my calls. She told my investigator she never wanted to hear from me again. I don't blame her. Malik sat there, trying to process everything. The trust funds, the treatment program, the housing, the fact that Rebecca had actually been trying to find them, trying to make amends. This doesn't erase what you did, he said finally. I know. My mom might not accept it. She's proud. She might tell you to take your money and, he glanced at Emma, and go away. I know that too, Rebecca said, but I have to try. And Malik, whatever she decides, this trust fund is yours. Legally, it's in your name. She can't refuse it on your behalf.
Malik looked at the sleeping child beside Rebecca. Emma had her thumb in her mouth, her blonde curls falling across her face. She looked peaceful, safe, completely unaware that her life had nearly ended today. When she's older, Malik said slowly, when you tell her what you did, tell her the whole truth. Don't make yourself the hero of the story. Don't make it a nice lesson about learning from mistakes. Tell her that you destroyed people, and it took you 3 years to care enough to fix it. Rebecca's face crumpled, but she nodded. I will. I promise. And tell her about today. Tell her that the homeless kid who saved her life was the same kid whose life you destroyed. Tell her that sometimes the people we throw away are the ones who end up saving us. I will, Rebecca whispered.
Malik picked up the stylus beside the tablet and stared at the signature line on the trust fund document. Rebecca was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, I'll offer, and I'll clear her name publicly. I should have done that 3 years ago. Yeah, Malik agreed. You should have. He signed the document. 6 months later, Malik stood outside Lincoln High School on graduation day, wearing a cap and gown that actually fit, surrounded by classmates whose lives had always been easier than his, but who were now congratulating him on his full-ride scholarship to MIT. In the crowd of parents and families, he spotted 2 faces that mattered more than any of the others. His mother, Angela Rivers, sober for 4 months and counting.
She'd completed the residential treatment program Rebecca had paid for. She was living in transitional housing. She was working again, not for Rebecca, who'd offered, but for herself, running a small house cleaning business with fair wages and dignity. And beside her, holding her hand, was Rebecca Stone. It had taken 3 months of family therapy, mediated conversations, and brutal honesty before Angela could even be in the same room as Rebecca. There had been tears, accusations, and moments where Malik thought reconciliation was impossible. But slowly, painfully, something had shifted. Not forgiveness, exactly. Angela said she wasn't ready for that and might never be, but understanding.
Recognition that Rebecca's guilt was genuine, that her attempts at restitution weren't performative, that she was genuinely trying to repair what she'd broken. Malik walked toward them, diploma in hand. Mom, he said, and Angela's face lit up with the kind of pride that made all the suffering almost worth it. I'm so proud of you, Angela said, pulling him into a hug that smelled like the lavender soap she'd always used, the one thing that felt like home. So incredibly proud. Malik looked over her shoulder at Rebecca, who was standing back, clearly unsure of her place in this moment. Thank you, Malik said to her, for everything. Rebecca smiled, tears in her eyes. You earned this, Malik. All I did was remove some obstacles. The rest was you.
Mom helped too, Malik said, squeezing Angela's hand. I didn't do much, Angela said quietly. I was barely holding myself together. You survived, Malik countered. That's what you did. You survived something that would have destroyed most people, and you came back from it. That's everything. Emma, now 4 years old, came running up, her blonde curls bouncing. She was wearing a purple dress and carrying a balloon that said, "Congratulations, graduate." Malik, she squealed, throwing her arms around his legs. You're smart. Mommy says you're the smartest person she knows. Malik laughed and picked her up. Your mommy exaggerates. No, she doesn't, Emma said seriously. She told me you saved my life.
And she told me that you're going to be an important engineer someday and build things that help people. Malik looked at Rebecca over Emma's head. You told her? Age-appropriate version, Rebecca clarified. I told her that you're the young man who helped her when she was scared at the mall, and that we're helping you now because that's what people should do, help each other. When she's older, Malik said, you'll tell her the rest? When she's older, Rebecca agreed. I'll tell her everything. The mistakes I made, the damage I caused, and how you taught me that redemption isn't about making yourself feel better. It's about genuinely trying to repair what you've broken. Malik set Emma down, and she ran off to play with other kids near the graduation ceremony crowd. I got you something, Rebecca said, pulling a small envelope from her purse. Graduation gift. Malik opened it and found a check. Not a huge amount, $5,000, but significant. What's this for? Whatever you need, Rebecca said. Books, laptop, dorm supplies, or nothing practical. Maybe just something that makes you happy. You've spent your whole life worrying about survival. Maybe it's time to worry about living. Malik stared at the check, then at his mother, who was watching him with eyes that held 5 years of pain, but also hope, cautious and fragile. Thank you, Malik said to Rebecca, then harder, for trying, for not giving up when Mom told you to go away, for actually doing the work instead of just throwing money at us and calling it redemption. I'm still trying, Rebecca admitted, every day, trying to be better than the person who made that accusation. That's all anyone can do, Angela said quietly, speaking directly to Rebecca for the first time that day. Try to be better. The two women looked at each other, and something unspoken passed between them. Not forgiveness, maybe, but acknowledgement. Recognition that they were both trying to move forward from something that had broken them both in different ways. MIT in the fall, Rebecca said to Malik, changing the subject to something safer. Are you nervous? Terrified, Malik admitted. I'll be surrounded by kids who went to elite prep schools and had private tutors and every advantage, and I'll be the kid who studied for SATs in a mall food court. You will also be the kid who taught himself calculus from library books, Angela said firmly. The kid who survived homelessness and still graduated with honors. The kid who risked his life to save a stranger's child. She's right, Rebecca added. You've already overcome more than most of those prep school kids will face in their entire lives. You're going to be fine. Malik wasn't sure he believed them, but he appreciated the faith. As the sun set over the high school, casting golden light across the graduates and their families, Malik thought about the past 6 months, the trust fund that had given him stability for the first time in years, the apartment he now shared with his mother, the therapy sessions that had helped them both process their trauma. The slow, painful rebuilding of a relationship that addiction and foster care had nearly destroyed. None of it erased the past. His childhood was still stolen. His mother's 5 years were still lost. The damage was permanent. But maybe redemption wasn't about erasing damage. Maybe it was about building something new from the broken pieces. Group photo, someone called, and graduates started gathering for pictures. Malik turned to Angela and Rebecca. Both of you, let's get a picture. Angela hesitated, but Rebecca nodded. If you're comfortable, Angela, no pressure. Angela looked at her son, 21 years old, high school graduate, MIT bound, standing taller than she'd seen him stand in years, and made a decision. Okay, she said, let's take a picture.
The three of them stood together, Angela in the middle, Malik on one side, Rebecca on the other, with Emma squeezed in front, grinning at the camera. The photographer counted down, 3, 2, 1. Click. A moment captured,
Not a happy ending exactly. Not everything tied up neatly with a bow, but a moment of hope, of tentative healing, of people trying, imperfectly, to be better than their worst moments. And sometimes that was enough. Malik stood in the campus center at MIT, surrounded by his engineering project team, presenting their senior design project to a panel of judges and potential investors. The project was a water purification system for communities without reliable infrastructure.
Solar-powered, built from locally sourced materials, maintainable without specialized training. Cost per unit, under $200. It was the same project he dreamed about at 17, sitting in a mall food court, teaching himself engineering from library books. But this version was better, refined by years of study, collaboration with brilliant classmates, access to labs and equipment, and mentorship from world-class professors. In the audience, Angela sat beside Rebecca. They weren't friends, exactly, probably would never be, but they'd found a way to coexist, united by their shared investment in Malik's future. Emma, now 7 years old, sat between them, swinging her legs and whispering questions about what Malik was presenting.
When Malik finished his presentation, the room erupted in applause. One of the judges, a representative from a major humanitarian organization, approached him immediately. "Mr. Rivers, we'd like to discuss funding for manufacturing and distribution. Your design could provide clean water to millions of people in developing regions." Malik shook the man's hand, trying not to let his excitement show too obviously. This was it. This was the moment that would transform his project from a classroom exercise into something real, something that would actually help people. After the presentation, after the congratulations and business cards and discussions about next steps, Malik found his mother and Rebecca in the crowd. "You did it," Angela said, pulling him into a hug.
I'm so proud of you, I can't even find words. You were incredible, Rebecca added. Watching you present up there, Malik, you're going to change the world. I couldn't have done it without both of you, Malik said, and meant it. Mom, you taught me to survive. Rebecca, you gave me the opportunity to thrive. Both of those things mattered. Emma tugged on his sleeve. Malik, does this mean you're famous now? Malik laughed and picked her up. Not famous, just hopefully helpful. Mommy says you're going to bring clean water to people who don't have it, Emma said seriously. That's a really good thing to do. It is, Malik agreed. And you know what? When you're older, maybe you'll do something important too. Maybe you'll help people in ways we can't even imagine yet.
"I want to help people like you helped me," Emma said. "When that bad man took me, you saved me. So I want to save people too." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears, and she looked away, trying to compose herself. Malik understood. This was what redemption actually looked like. Not erasing the past, but ensuring the future was better. Not fixing what was broken, but building something new that honored the pain while moving beyond it. "Emma," Malik said gently, "you know what the best way to help people is? What? See them. Really see them. Not just what they look like on the outside, but who they are on the inside. Your mom made a mistake once because she didn't really see someone. She judged too quickly. But she learned from that, and now she sees people more clearly." He looked at Rebecca as he said it, and she nodded, understanding the message beneath his words. "I'll remember," Emma promised solemnly. As they left the campus center, walking into the bright afternoon sunshine, Malik thought about the journey that had brought him here. From a 12-year-old child removed from his mother's care, to a homeless teenager living in his car, to an MIT senior about to launch a humanitarian engineering project. The path hadn't been linear. It had been full of pain, loss, and injustice that could never be fully repaired. But he'd survived it. More than survived. He'd transformed it into purpose. And maybe that was the real lesson.
Not that everything happens for a reason. Not that suffering makes you stronger. Not that redemption erases damage.
But that even from the most broken circumstances, even from the worst mistakes and the deepest injustices, something new could grow. Something that honored the pain without being defined by it. Malik Rivers had been homeless at 17. At 21, he was an MIT graduate about to bring clean water to millions of people who needed it. The past still mattered, the damage was still real, but the future was his to build, and he was just getting started. If this story moved you, if it made you think about second chances and redemption and how we judge people based on their circumstances, I need you to do something for me. 1. Hit that like button. It helps this story reach more people. 2. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their past doesn't define their future. 3.
Drop a comment telling me who gave you a second chance when you needed it most, or who do you need to give a second chance to? These stories matter because your stories matter too. We all make mistakes. We all judge too quickly sometimes. We all have opportunities to be better. Subscribe to VickyTale if you haven't already, because I have more stories that will challenge you, inspire you, and remind you that humanity is complicated and beautiful and worth fighting for. Until next time, remember, the people you overlook might be the ones who end up saving you. I'll see you in the next story.